Hi, friend.
Well, hello. How are you?
Oh my gosh. Sarah, it is so good to be able to reconnect with you after that incredible day.
Wasn't it
We,
fantastic?
oh my goodness. You know what? I am so in awe of the magnificent women who showed up in various ways on International Women's Day for that Voices of Women Summit. It was incredible.
It certainly was. And friends out there joining us, what Tanya is talking about is the Voices of Women Summit that we were just able to participate in on National Women's Day. And you know what? Women's Day, that one day is just not enough. I love the momentum and I love the camaraderie. It's not about competition, it's just about raising up other entrepreneurs, other leaders, other people that are specifically women or identify as women in on this day. And so what we did was we participated in this all-day event with over 1,000 participants, 300 speakers, and I have exactly, it was so magnificent. I don't even know what I don't even know how to describe it other than I'm going back and listening and watching so many other fantastic speakers, leaders, mentors, authors that have so much to say. And what we wanted to do here is for us to reconnect, for us to shine a light on our message today. And for those of you that weren't able to catch it, I totally understand. There was so much happening, so much going on, and that is life, right?
And
That's just what happens in life.
it was the middle of the week. Not everyone has the flexibility to pop in the middle of the week, and not everybody maybe even has the financial ability to do the VIP, which was pretty incredible. But the truth is, you know what? We have an opportunity to share a little bit about the impact that we felt by being present there.
Exactly. And I want to make a shout out to all of the other friends and women that we know that participated in it, and especially to Kimberly Crowe and her entire team, Jenny Trask, everyone involved in really getting that message out there to the entire world. Didn't they do such a great job?
Well, and the cool thing is it is International Women's Day. So, it is about recognizing that whether we know another woman across the world or not, we have a space to acknowledge that our experiences as women, or those who identify as women, are unique. And having that day, I mean, I think about legacy a lot, and I think about, what our foremothers and four grandmothers and the generations before us have, really not only fought for to create the lives that we have today, but also endured in their lives to bring us to the point that we're at now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that struggle does not go unnoticed. And thankfully, we don't have the same struggles that they did. And we're facing our own these days. So, Tanya, I know you've got a lot to share, and your voice is so important. And for those of you out there that are watching this that don't know Tanya Gill, one, you need to get to know this woman. She's fantastic and amazing and all kinds of things. But I am going to give you a little bit of her bio, and it's great. And there's so much more to Tanya. So I'm going to give you a little tee up, and then you're going to explain to me, one, what it was like to be on such a broad stage, and two, share a little bit about your message. So again, for those of you that do not know Tanya Gill, she is on a mission to create a legacy of self-love for women that reinforces trust in themselves so that they are successful, confident, and living life juicy. She's the founder of Perfectly Imperfect Life Coaching, the trifecta of joy philosophy, and is dedicated to helping you move through your hard stuff while reigniting what is already within you. With over 30 years of research and work in various helping fields, including education, social work, grief recovery, and life coaching. She is the real talk. She's the real deal, real knowledge and real inspiration. She has inspired me and many, many other people and women all around the world. Through her book, she speaks, she has a podcast and various social media platforms. Tanya shines love and light, so much light, wherever she goes. So everyone, this is Tanya Gill.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, and it really is about spreading love and light for me. It's so funny, right? Because I have a tattoo on my wrist in my mother's handwriting that says inspire hope. And for me, the word hope really means action, right? And so being a part of International Women's Day and the Voices of Women Summit, for me was an opportunity to, again, take that inspiring hope to another level. And for me, it's about legacy. It really is about a legacy of self-love. Because you know what, friend, like when we come right down to it, we're in a really unique time. We are in a time like no other, like our mothers and grandmothers have never experienced. And we're in a time where future generations are experiencing things that we certainly didn't. And they are being influenced even more and more. And so for me, you know, my talk was really about the legacy of self-love. And I took it from the perspective of how are you going to love yourself so that the numbers on the scale don't matter, and the comparisons in social media don't matter, and you actually create an awareness in yourself so that you know whose life you're living and who you're living it for. You know,
Yes,
like
absolutely. That's amazing. And you spoke of legacy, and so many times we don't feel fulfilled because maybe we aren't expressing ourselves. Maybe we aren't living our true potential. So tell me more about that legacy.
well, so that's exactly it, right? Like, so I talk about in my book, The Trifecta of Joy, the three key elements are awareness, befriend your inner critic, and raise your vibration. And so my talk was really about those things, like bring awareness to things like what does bring you joy? What does light your fire? And when you find yourself in those places where, because we are humans and we're in a really challenging time, and there's no end to the stress, to the pressure, to the comparison, to all of the things that we're taking from our past. I call that our cultural stew, and bringing into now. And we're in a unique space where we have the opportunity to create a slotted spoon, if you will, and scoop out and pay attention to the things that no longer serve us. Because it is about what we do and not about what we say. So legacy is about living that life that you truly love and doing it from a place of self-love. And I'll tell you, like for me personally, my self-love, I thought, was attached to my weight. I really, truly did. I was a chronic dieter for 40 years. And for me, when I finally said, I'm done dieting and I'm just going to start focusing on loving myself, and I became really intentional in that, everything changed. And including the scale, which I really don't give a shit about, and I wish nobody gave a shit about. But it made such a difference in living life authentically and feeling confident and feeling powerful and feeling success, and noticing that inner critic. My inner critic's name is Deja, and her full name is Deja. Here we go again, poo, as in I've heard this crap before, right? But it's about befriending her, because we're so used to resisting, right? What we resist persists. So it's that space of like really allowing a loving and gentle, first noticing her, because like a lot of times we just think these are our thoughts. But if you can, notice it and recognize that it is that past story that was usually used to protect you, but unfortunately didn't serve you as well or doesn't serve you now. And so I talked a lot about befriending the inner critic. And so, that's an important piece of living a life that is juicy. And
I love that. I love that.
Like we all have an inner critic, and people lots. And the thing is, like, if I can give you a tip, like I've named mine Deja, and people around me know that it's my Deja. So when I find her and I need help, I find myself in those places, I will go out and I will say to someone that I love who knows about Deja, either my partner or my friends, and I will say, like, Deja's having a moment. And you know what? Nothing is a greater vibe raiser, right? Which is the third element of the trifecta of joy, than first of all, having a space to be vulnerable and having people who love you and accept you and can support you in those times. Because those are the same people who raise your vibe and keep the momentum going and are there to do the things that you love and be with you as you are the person you love, right? Vibration is everything. We know that. We feel it when we walk into a room and, things are tense. And we feel it when we walk into a room and it's a party, right? And we ride that roller coaster all of the time. But when we become intentional and start to pay attention, right, we increase the awareness, we befriend the inner critic, and we really focus on raising the vibration. We let go of that bullshit of like, everything's going to start on a Monday, right? We always like, and whether it's like, okay, on Monday, I'm going to start the workout, or on Monday, I'm going to start the diet, or on Monday, I'm going to start my reading routine, or like we all have those, and we can let go of that and just be like, instead, this is going to be the life I'm going to live right now. And I'm going to do it with intention, and I'm going to do it with attention. And it's powerful stuff.
I love that. And going back to the slotted spoon analogy, you can scoop up all the things you need and love and want, and the rest of it can just fall away with that intention and attention. Great way to bring that together, friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, my talk was obviously longer, but, those are kind of the key points that I wanted to make. And it like the reality is that the book dives deeper. The podcast, the Trifecta of Joy podcast dives deeper, and my programs dive deeper. But it's important to me that there's also like these nuggets of accessibility where, people don't have to pay to be able to start the juices flowing, right? Mm-hmm. Because the truth Absolutely. Is like and it really does start with awareness. And I use the analogy of a peony as awareness, because, when a peony is in its bud form, it's that little tight ball, right?
The peony, the flower?
The peony flower, okay. Yeah. But as it blooms out and it exposes more, and there are more and more layers, and it becomes this massive, giant, beautiful flower. And so our own awareness, as we become more aware, our lives and our worlds bloom even more and create more light. And that shit is contagious. So that's beautiful. The legacy. The more you love yourself, the more you show up for yourself, the more you have to give to others, and the more you show them the importance of them loving them. It's just about love.
I love that it's about love. So if you have not picked up Tanya's book, The Trifecta of Joy, like she was saying, you can start your juiciness. And I will totally plug your book because it's a fantastic book, and it has some real life stories, some real life juiciness, some ups and downs about life, and everything that Tanya talked about. And here's the thing, friends, if you get out there and you start a book like this, you start to get immersed in the juices. You start getting involved and you start, seeing what it is that you can incorporate into your life. And then you can talk to Tanya, and then you can take it deeper. And then she's got so many other programs, so many other talks. Like she said, she's got the podcast, and you can listen to that, share that with your friends. And she's also creating this university. And in this university, if you join this, I know it's amazing.
But it's called the Academy.
I'm sorry, the Academy.
That's
yes.
okay.
The Academy.
Trifecta of Joy Academy. It's going to be the most fun school you've ever fucking done.
And, that's the thing, is that if we don't learn more, we're just going to stay in the same place. Right? So might as well make it fun, make it full of joy, and all of those different things. And also, so Tanya, where can everyone find you?
Oh, well, actually, I have a YouTube channel, which is Perfectly Imperfect Life Coaching. I also, the easiest way though, is to head on over to trifectaofjoy.com. And that is the hub for my book, as well as Perfectly Imperfect Life Coaching, which is my company name. Awesome. And then they can follow on the socials, which is at Trifecta of Joy. So I'm kind of all over the place right now, and headed to California to speak next week. So that's exciting too.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Let's talk about that in a minute. Yeah.
Let's talk about that in a minute. So I'm all over the place, but you know what? More than anything, the most important thing for me is that people start stepping into owning their own lives. And, Sara, like, one of the things that there's so many things that I love about you. But one of the things that I love about you is that I had the extreme pleasure of hosting you on my podcast. And in hosting you on my podcast, I not only got to know you, I got to know a very, very, very powerful side of you, which is your book, Stressed Out and Don't Know What to Do. Now, this is amazing. And there are so many things I could say, but what I want people to understand is that you have this incredible ability to take all of the pieces of you, which is your board certified, therapeutic massage certification, your speaking, the mentoring, and then becoming a best-selling author, and you put it all together to create a package that says we can get beyond stress. And what I love even more is that you didn't even just say we can get beyond stress, but I'm going to give you 2-minute techniques. I'm going to give you the 2-minute techniques that get you from stressed out and exhausted and overwhelmed and feeling burned out, and returning to that heart-centered place and breaking the stress cycle, not just personally, but in careers and in relationships and in your emotional state and in your health and in your well-being. And Sara, okay, there's so many things, and there's no question, I absolutely adore you. What was, I want to ask you what your greatest takeaway was from participating in Voices of Women and having an opportunity to talk about stress with something that resonates with, I think, everybody.
So thank you for that. And there are so many takeaways from being on such a grand stage, like the women's stage we were just on together. Because what I realized is that there are so many voices out there that aren't being heard yet. And that's the key, is that we're getting more momentum for so many powerful, professional people that happen to be women. And these voices are not being heard as they need to be. And for whatever reason that is, and we don't have to go into why they're not being heard, but just an opportunity to go, you know what, let's come together. Let's hear different people, hear different perspectives, give some of the best work that we have, the experience, the knowledge, the trainings that we all have, and be able to share that on whatever stage that we're on, whether that be a one-on-one discussion with somebody, whether it be on the social, on all the socials, through our books, or any other platform. Because I think so many times we're taught, and this is part of what I talked about yesterday, was we're taught that it's our fault. It's our fault for not being heard. It's our fault for not standing up. It's our fault for not knowing all of those things. And I'm about taking responsibility. However, up until this point, you might not have known. You might not have known how to get out there. You might not have known that it was okay. I go into this a lot deeper in the talk that I'm going to be doing in California in a couple of weeks that we're going to talk about. But, here's the thing is that you weren't taught to do these things. And so how can you blame yourself? So one of the things I talk about is letting that go. And once we're able to let go and start from point A, which is right here, right now, today, then we're able to move forward.
Yes.
And with my background, I've been in massage therapy for nearly 20 years, health, personal training, mindset work, all of these different things. And when I accumulated all of these 2-minute techniques, or all these techniques that I created and made them 2 minutes, is that we don't have the attention span that we used to. We're used to just all of the stimulation all over the place in so many different directions. And we're pulled with our calendars, with our time, with our energy, with our finances, all of these things, and we're pulled apart. And so that's why I created the 2-minute techniques, so that you have quick and easy wins. And it's so funny because there's so many times people tell me, how can you do anything in 2 minutes? Well, have you ever done a push-up for 2 minutes? Have you ever done a clean for 2 minutes? 2 minutes can be a long time and it can be effective. And I just want to bring it into that physical realm, because you kind of think, wow, 2 minutes can be a long time. And
Okay.
right.
And that is such an important reminder. 2 minutes can feel like a lifetime, or 2 minutes can go in the blink of an eye.
Exactly.
And it is your perspective. And
it certainly is.
Okay. And you know what? Like, there are so many incredible tips of course, this is what I open up to. What you resist persists. and we've already talked a little bit about that, but the 2-minute technique that I love, and that I use regularly is the Zen zone. And so please, my friend, for our viewers and listeners, let's talk about the Zen zone.
You want to talk about the Zen zone? Well, I think it might have a little bit to do with maybe your inner critic, and Miss Deja Vu, and where we go with that. Because see, out here, I'll explain the Zen zone. So again, we're pulled in so many directions. We have so much going on. And these days, our stress level gets elevated, and it can be triggered from so many different areas. And see, the stress cycle, if you're not really familiar with it, is not a linear thing. Stress does not go in here's an A, B, C, D kind of a thing. And it seems to go in a cycle, and it seems to go round and round, back and forth, up and down. And it doesn't come from just one space. It can come from the inner critic within you. Maybe somebody said something to you that's been negative, or maybe it's a certain belief that you have that you've carried on, someone taught you. Whatever it may be, it can come from the inside, but it can come from the outside. It can be absolutely somebody saying something to you in the moment, or, it can be traffic.
Right. Traffic.
It can be
pressure of
anything.
schedule. There are lots of different things that can create that, the stress.
Absolutely. You can open up your phone and, our triggers get pushed at any given time, at any given day. And, sometimes we bring them on and we invite them by opening up that email, by opening up our phone, but sometimes it happens, right? And so what I like to compare it to in the stress zone is it's like a game of pinball, bouncing around, and it affects your mind, body, your spirit. Okay. So all of these different things affect one another. So, and especially our emotional state. And so when we get elevated or stressed out, sometimes we have anxiousness, sometimes we have palpitations, sometimes it comes out in pain, sometimes we're not able to breathe. Whatever those physical things are, they do help you to breathe. But once you start taking that deep breath in and you hold it, and then you gently let it go, you're able to start to shift. But sometimes it takes a little bit more than that. And that's just one technique. And I'll show you box breathing in the book and, in some of my talks. But the Zen zone is that next step. And that Zen zone is a place where you can go in your mind. It's a place that you can go physically. I do suggest that you make a couple different places for yourself. And if it's in your home, maybe it's a place where you can go shut the door. It could be your bedroom, but it could be another room. There's another room that is everywhere and anywhere you go. And yes, that's the bathroom. So as soon as you walk into the bathroom, when that door shuts, go into a different space, calm yourself down, have that trigger of, okay, I'm getting grounded. I'm able to relax. I'm able to reshift whatever's going on for me, whether you're getting into a conversation with somebody that may be a little bit tense, maybe you're going into a meeting, maybe you're getting into the car to drive, whatever that is for you, your Zen zone can be that place where you just calm it down. And I go into a little bit more depth in the book and in the training that we're going to be doing on April 1st. I'm so excited about this training, Tanya. Oh my goodness, to feel alive and thrive. I've got it broken down to the 5 steps. And when you really dive into this training, we take the Zen zone to another level. I teach you all the insides and outsides of how to really anchor that in any stressful situation that may occur for you. So I'm excited about that. But that's what the Zen zone is. The Zen zone is just that place that you can go to just re-shift, re-anchor. And once you step out of the bathroom or wherever that place is for you, again, it can be something that you create in your mind. You can just close your eyes for just a half a second. It can be that quick because the more you practice these techniques, the faster and faster and faster they go.
Well, and you know what? Like I jokingly talk about the Zen zone because I do actually, when I personally feel, that level of stress, I sometimes am very intentional about going to the washroom and just breathing. Mm-hmm. There are other times though that where my Zen zone is a space by a beautiful lake and I can put myself there. I've got my feet in the water. I can envision everything, like the birds, the sky, the water, the trees, the rocks in the lake, all of the things. And so, that Zen zone is a very personal experience, but it can be incredibly powerful for regrounding. So thank you for sharing that, because I think it's very important that people understand. And, there is a reason you are the stress expert, right? And it's because you have the ability to really find ways for people to nurture themselves beyond that stressed out and don't know what to do feeling.
Yes, thank you for that. And what I really want to do, it's because we've been, again, so stressed out for so long. Our cortisol levels are increased so much. Our amygdala is always kicked in. Our fight, flight, or freeze is constantly on alert. For some reason, and there's many reasons, our safety mechanisms are firing all of the time because there's so much stimulation. And what it really comes down to is not feeling safe, not believing we're safe. And not just, in the like someone may break into my home kind of safe, but sometimes safety may just be something as simple as, am I warm enough? It can be something very, very simple, but we're so stimulated. And it's really brought down from, our ancestry, way back when those saber-toothed tigers were coming after us.
Survival.
Right? Yep. You've heard this before. That survival mechanism is the thing that our bodies really reset to. It's the thing that keeps us on alert, and it does keep us safe. But what we really want to do is we want to bring that part down. We want to change that vibration so that we can vibe in a productive, healthy, wonderful way. And so when we shift that vibration, it is really inspirational. And, when you're talking about the inspiration, you get inspired by being in your Zen zone, by being in that natural space for you. I don't know of anybody who gets inspiration when they're in the middle of a crisis, maybe afterwards,
right?
But not during, because we are so in tune to being safe. Think about when animals are not in a safe place. They back up, they cower, they show their teeth, they attempt to be intimidating, whatever those things are. And what happens, I don't know if everybody knows this, but what happens in your body, and you see this in animals, that our other functions don't happen because we're not utilizing that energy for other things. We're not hungry, we're not thirsty, we are not in those spaces. All of our energy is going to our core so that we can take care of those things, right? So, and it's really interesting because the physiological things that we feel, throughout our bodies, and I think so many times we're not in our bodies anymore, and if you don't know what that means, is you're not feeling the feelings. And so many people are disconnected to what's happening inside of their bodies. They're not recognizing that maybe the pain in their shoulders telling them, hey, we need to relax. Maybe we need to not be in that computer all of the time, all day long. Or it's a sign of maybe we need to get out, we need to move, we need to stretch. So combining the physiological parts of ourselves, our mindset, our feelings, our actions, when we combine all of those together, it really helps to propel us forward.
Well, and that is the beauty of awareness, right? Because when we become aware and we recognize that we are our mind, body, spirit unit, like I call it the meat suit, but the meat suit tells us a lot, right? And often we're tied in our thoughts, right? Like whether it's the inner critic or what's happening next, or the stress in the traffic, or like you said, before you're going into the big meeting or going out of the meeting and feeling overwhelmed. Until we experience that emotional regulation, our prefrontal cortex isn't functioning properly anyway, right? Like, if this is the brain, this is the brain stem, and your prefrontal cortex wraps around your brain. But when you are stressed, you flip your lid. And so the 2-minute techniques are really about like bringing back that moment to being able to think more clearly again, right?
Exactly. And when you have those tools and techniques in your toolkit, you're able to recognize it much quicker. So we all are going to always experience stress, no matter, what's going on in our lives. As long as we're breathing, we're experiencing stress in some capacity. However, it's what we do with that information. It's what we do with those situations. And when you can really tackle it, one, before it happens, you can dissipate it and, kind of avoid a lot of it. But there's other times where it's happening. And so when you have these tools, again, these techniques in your toolkit, you'll be able to just go, okay, which tool do I use? Which technique is going to work for me? And the more you practice it, the more you go, okay, that's the one, or that's the one. And then again, on a deeper level, when we do deeper work together, I'll show you how to really connect all of it at a really deep rooted level. so that you can get rid of the things that are really causing it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing, right? Like, and this is why I think that you and I are so aligned, right? That self-love is, having that awareness, the awareness of what's happening for you, identifying when you're stressed, what is stressing you out, and being able to regulate yourself. And then working with that inner critic, because quite often, let's face it, the inner critic causes no shortage of stress. And your own vibration is impacted by stress. And so the more that you have the awareness around the stress and have ways to address it, the more you're going to be able to literally enjoy your life. And that is self-love. That is the legacy. And again, I come back to with International Women's Day, this was not just about a bunch of women sitting around talking and sharing, sales pitches. It was information to inspire people to move forward in their lives in ways that feel empowering,
Mm-hmm.
in ways that are nurturing, in ways that create different, maybe ways of thinking about their world and the world that they are living in now and creating forward.
Mm-hmm. And talking and speaking with intention. You talked a lot about intention, because there's so many times where we just put things out there. And when we don't have an intention behind it, sometimes it gets misconstrued. But then where does it go? Where does it go? Where do we go next? When I used to kind of disassociate a lot, because I had so much happening in my world and in my mind, and I wanted to escape my life at one point. So I turned to television. I turned to, I was changing the channels and watching and binging and all of those things. And there's nothing wrong with watching TV. There's nothing wrong with watching any of those things. The thing is that I was doing it in excess. And I was so wrapped up in, what was happening to the characters in my favorite shows. And I had about 50 favorite shows at the time, and over and over and over. And I could tell you every single little detail about other people's lives that were fictional, but not about my own, because I wasn't in a place where I wanted to live my life. I wanted to escape it. And I think the place that we were yesterday, with so many wonderful, vibrant people sharing their stories of where they were and that struggle that they were in, how they resolved it, what they did. And now we're not only helping themselves, because we have to start with ourselves first. Because then when we do that, then we're able to help others in so many beautiful, wonderful ways. Because if we're not in the space to help ourselves, it's very, very difficult to have enough energy, time, resources to help others. And although I was in the health space, I was helping others in their health, it was completely draining me, because I gave every ounce I had to everyone else and not to myself. So I want to help raise that awareness. And I know you are doing that too, talking about being in alignment with ourselves, and helping just everyone out there that wants to move forward. And if it's not your time, that's okay too.
Well, and that's exactly it, right? It is about, this is your life, and you have choice in it. And the beautiful thing about being autonomous human beings and women at this time in our lives is that we do have choice. And you talk about dissociation with television. I think a lot of people use dissociation with their telephones or food or alcohol. There's so many things that we can use to dissociate with. There are other things though, like when we do them with intention and pay attention and deepen that awareness, we realize, how these things impact us. And we start to understand, for example, I know for myself that scrolling through Facebook actually increases my stress level. I feel it in my body. So I spend very little time scrolling through Facebook because I find, for me, where I'm at, that my Deja, my inner critic, will start to play a comparison game. And I can shut that down and I can say, like, this is my journey. However, I can also be intentional about how often I decide to expose myself to that. And I
Oh,
think
absolutely.
right?
And great for you for being able to have that awareness and recognizing it. And limiting yourself on where you are and your exposure with it, and then being able to go, okay, my time is better spent over here. My energy is better spent over here. Whatever those things are, you're able to do that. That's great.
Yeah, well, and it's important. And I think that it's something that we all, an awareness that we can all bring to our lives. So as we're getting ready to conclude this awesome conversation, my friend, because I am so grateful to have been able to share the Voices of Women Summit with you, and 1,000 viewers and 300 speakers, and the amazing platform that Kimberly Crowe and Entrepreneur Rocket Fuel put together, like mind-blowingly awesome. I also am very excited because I have the pleasure of speaking at an Empowered Women in Wellness conference with you in just over a week.
That's right. That's right. So it's going to be in Murrieta, technically in Temecula, Southern California. And we have information. Tanya, you'll place that into the chat later. And we'll be able to post that in social media. Because here's the thing, is that if you can be a part of growing and learning and taking yourself to the next level, do it. Whether it be the next conference that we're at, which we hope you do join us. And we'll love to give you some more information about that, because there's so many women out there. And again, this is specifically for women also, and the gentlemen that want to hear.
Right. So it's an audience 12. I say it's for 12 to 112.
Exactly.
Right. And so it is again, when we talk about legacy, it's also an opportunity to bring your daughters or your nieces or your or I say, guess not your nephews, sorry, your daughters or your nieces or your grandchildren, to empower them as young women. Right.
Yes. At any age in your journey. I talk a lot about wherever you are in the stress cycle, we will meet you where you are so we can help you shift whatever's going on for you so that you can move forward. And that's similar to what's going on here for the Women in Wellness, because we're going to have women who are talking about fitness, mindset, spirituality, all of the areas
Finances.
of life. Absolutely.
Yeah. All aspects of life that affect women. Yeah. And being able to bring these voices together and share a message and really be able to, create it. I feel like it's going to be like a little bit of a festival kind of feeling. So I'm excited for it. It's going to be really awesome.
Exactly.
We will make sure that we put the link in the notes so that people have an opportunity to register if they like. And there is an online option, which I think is really important to note for people.
Yes.
Because if they can't make it in person, there's an online option too. So that's very cool as well.
Yes. And, we definitely encourage you to invest in yourself, invest in others, invest in creating the support that's for you and around you. Because if you're doing it yourself, it's very difficult. But when you bring a friend, when you bring somebody that cares about you and you care about, you can raise your vibration so much easier and so much with so much less effort, time, money, energy, all of those things. So we encourage you to do that, whatever that looks like for you.
Right. It's all about community. It's all
That's
about
right. That's right. That's right. So, and if you've liked what we've shared here today, please share this with someone that you care about, someone that may need or want to hear this message. And let's do this more often.
Let's do this more often. We've
Yeah,
always got good stuff to talk about. So yeah, let's do this more often.
that's
Maybe we'll
right.
do a follow-up after our amazing our amazing conference in Temecula in California. So
that sounds
that would
wonderful. And maybe we may also bring some other wonderful people in the mix
Mhm.
and share some more insights and some prizes and some, fun things that you guys can link into so that you can start your journey today.
Today. I love it. I love it.
That's right.
Oh, Sara Nakamura, I always love sharing space with you. Thank you so much for this time and for being just the amazing soul that you are and the stress expert.
Awesome. It's always been a pleasure, Tanya. And look forward to so many more conversations to help grow our community, and everyone else that is lovely out there that wants to move forward.
We are on a mission. We are on a mission to make the world a better place, one human being at a time.
That's right.
And
That's right.
it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, friend.
I'm gonna leave you with a quote. Gonna leave you with a quote today because I have these lovely bookmarks. I just want to say one last thing. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to read it, it says, "I must give to myself today, so I am able to give to others tomorrow." So I'll leave you with that quote, friends.
I must give to myself today so that I am able to give to others tomorrow. Words to live by, my friend. Words to live by. Thank you so much. You're amazing. And until next time, to our listeners, like, Sara is the bomb and I love sharing space with her. So stay tuned because there'll be more. That's kind of, I promise there will be more. So thank you so much for watching and listening and all the love. Mwah.